Revelation 18:21-24. And one strong angel lifted a stone like a great millstone, and threw it into the sea, saying, "This way, on a violent impulse, Babylon the great city will be thrown down, and it will never more still be found. And the sound of harpers, and of musicians, and flutists, and of trumpeters will not still be heard in you, never. And every craftsman of every craft will not still be found in you, never. And the sound of a mill will not still be heard in you, never. And the light of a lamp will not still shine in you, never. And the voice of the bridegroom and bride will not be heard in you, never. For your merchants were the great ones of the earth. For by your pharmaceuticals, sorceries, all the nations were led astray. And in her was found the blood of prophets, and of saints, and of all the ones having been slain on the earth." This ancient prophecy was never a mere symbolic poem about ancient empires. It was a precise, terrifying blueprint, foretelling a future where the pharmaceutical industry took absolute control of every nation on earth through their drugs and weaponized fear. In Revelation 18, Babylon is portrayed as a massive commercial empire. The merchants of the earth grow wildly wealthy off her wanton luxury and excess, treating everything, including human bodies and souls, as commodities. It began decades earlier, when the directors of global cartels and international forums declared that a global health crisis presented a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. Under the banner of the Great Reset, the merchants of the earth realized that traditional armies were no longer necessary to conquer sovereign populations. One needed only to broadcast perpetual fear of invisible biological threats. Nation after nation surrendered its constitutional liberties to unelected global bodies. Through amended international health regulations and binding pandemic treaties, the World Health Organization and corporate executives seized ultimate authority over domestic laws, turning public health into an inescapable apparatus of global governance. The cornerstone of this new world order was the digital biocertificate. What had started in the early 2020s as primitive paper passes, smart health cards, and regional platforms like the EU Digital Pass had been integrated by the WHO into a single, global digital health network. Embedded beneath the skin, this bio-credential dictated every aspect of human life. Without a verified green status, a citizen was instantly cut off from daily existence. Fear was the primary currency of this empire, and chemical compliance was the price of survival. The pharmaceutical industry used 5 ruthless pillars of enforcement to lock humanity into total submission. First came the workplace and employer mandates. No man or woman could earn a living, serve in the military, work in healthcare, or operate a business without submitting to mandatory, subscription-based chemical regimens and weekly testing at their own expense. Non-compliance meant immediate termination, dishonorable discharge, and total economic exile. Second was the systematic destruction of assembly, worship, and commerce. Governments drew arbitrary lines between essential megacorporations and non-essential family enterprises. Small shops, independent farms, and local artisans were driven into bankruptcy, while church doors were welded shut and religious gatherings outlawed under the guise of biohazard prevention. Third was total digital surveillance and location tracking. Mobile phone networks, banking transactions, and automated contact tracing algorithms tracked every step a human took. Automated health codes flashed green for the compliant and red for the rebellious, triggering instant home arrest, telecom blackouts, or property seizure through administrative eviction orders. Fourth was direct speech control and surrogate censorship. Executive agencies and public health boards coerced media platforms to eliminate all dissent. Discussions of natural immunity, alternative treatments, laboratory origins, or the dangers of the industry's drugs were scrubbed from human memory, replacing open discourse with state-mandated propaganda. Fifth was the abolition of private ownership. In this managed utopia, citizens owned nothing. Land, homes, transport, and even the chemical composition of one's own bloodstream were leased from the corporate cartels. Chemically pacified by mandatory mood-stabilizing compounds, the masses were conditioned to accept their servitude and believe they were happy. In subterranean cellars beneath the sterile, glowing metropolis of Neo-Babylon, an aged archivist named Ezra preserved the true history the cartels had tried to erase. Looking through ancient manuscripts, he understood that this modern global empire was simply the ultimate fulfillment of Pharmakeia. Throughout ancient and European history, sorcery and witchcraft had never been mere folklore. Practitioners had always used botanical mixtures, chemical compounds, plant toxins, and mind-altering potions to induce altered states, instill fear, and exert psychological control over others. Now, empirical chemistry had been merged with global digital technology. The ancient cauldrons had evolved into automated pharmaceutical refineries, but the spiritual reality remained unchanged. The pharmaceutical industry was using chemical manipulation and manufactured terror to deceive all the nations of the earth. Ezra belonged to the underground remnant, those who had refused the bio-credentials, chosen exile in the wilderness and hidden ruins, and preserved their bloodstreams and their souls. They lived without access to global commerce, surviving on wild herbs and ancient truth, while watching the high towers of Neo-Babylon glow with synthetic light. They read Revelation 18:21-24, not with dread but with patient, unyielding expectation. Then came the hour of divine reckoning. Without warning, the sky tore open above the glittering spires of the pharmaceutical cartels. A mighty angel, clothed in brilliant, unearthly light, lifted a stone like a colossal millstone and hurled it with violent force into the deep sea. The cosmic shockwave struck the earth, destroying the infrastructure of Neo-Babylon in a single hour. The global server farms burned out, the digital bio-credentials vanished into useless code, and the chemical distribution pipelines froze. The immense wealth of the global merchants, accumulated through fear, censorship, and chemical enslavement, evaporated overnight. An absolute, terrifying silence fell across the metropolis. The endless noise of state-sanctioned entertainment vanished. As the prophecy foretold, the sound of harpers, musicians, and flutists was heard no more. Every automated mill and corporate workshop stopped dead. The light of the glowing lamps was extinguished forever. The natural, joyful voices of the bridegroom and the bride fell silent in the streets. The global empire that had used drugs and fear to lead every nation astray was cast down with violent impulse, never to be found again. And as the smoke rose from the ruins of the cartel towers, Ezra and the remnant stepped out from the wilderness into clean, unpolluted air, looking up at the heavens to behold the dawn of true and everlasting freedom.